What's going on, YouTube? So, I'm going to go ahead and read part of this article before I give my commentary. It says, Jaden Smith says it's true that Tyler, the Creator, is his boyfriend. I scroll down here. Says this is now the third time Smith refers to the 27-year-old rapper as his boyfriend, quote unquote. Jaden Smith is now proclaiming for a third time that Tyler, the Creator, is his boyfriend. The 20-year-old hip-hop artist and actor stopped by Apple Music Beats' One radio show on Friday to promote his new mixtape when he brought up the fellow musician. Says, quote, I recently said that Tyler, the Creator, is my boyfriend, and that's true. So just so you know, Jaden said, referring to the proclamation he made earlier this month. During his set at music festival Camp Flog Gnaw Carnival, Jaden yelled into the mic, I just want to say that Tyler, the Creator, is the best friend in the world, and I love him so fucking much. And I want to tell you guys something. I want to tell you Tyler doesn't want to say, but Tyler's my motherfucking boyfriend, and he's been my motherfucking boyfriend my whole fucking life. Tyler, the Creator, is my fucking boyfriend, he insisted. It's true. The camera panned to Tyler, who playfully shook his head and motioned no with his finger while laughing. I guess this is the video. Let me see if it plays. No, it's not gonna play. That's fine.
I just want to say Tyler, the Creator, is the best friend in the world, and I love him so fucking much. And I want to tell you guys something. I want to tell you, Tyler doesn't want to say, but Tyler's my motherfucking boyfriend, and he's been my motherfucking boyfriend my whole fucking life. Tyler, the Creator, is my fucking boyfriend. It's true. Also, the fire marshal said they're gonna.
Okay. Says, Jaden then tweeted, yup, at Tyler, the Creator. I told everyone you can't deny it now. Once again, Tyler laughed off the claim, replying, ha ha, you're a crazy nigger, man. Tyler's sexuality has been a topic of conversation for years. Lyrics from his 2017 album, Flower Boy, I'm gonna leave that alone, led to speculation that he was coming out as gay, but the 27-year-old California native never confirmed or denied anything. The rapper further fueled the discussion during an August 2017 interview when he said he had a boyfriend at the age of 15. Tyler later said on Twitter he was simply using a figure of speech. Okay, so we have a closet homosexual and an open homosexual. Okay, here's my deal. So, as many of you know, I did a video regarding Magic Johnson's openly, flamboyantly gay son about a year ago. And I was pointing out the very strange issues with the children, specifically the male children of heterosexual black men in Hollywood coming out as gay or bisexual. Okay? And what's even more disturbing and strange is that these heterosexual black male Hollywood stars, many of them, icons of their day, like Magic Johnson, they support their sons being gay. Now, here's the deal. I've said before that I don't have a problem with someone who comes out and admits to what they are. As you saw in the other article, Tyler, the creator, is trying to deny it, but when enough people are saying it, we've learned that it's probably more likely than not true. Jaden Smith is openly stating that he is a homosexual without directly saying it, calling Tyler, the creator, his boyfriend. And the fact that he keeps trying to put this guy on the spot means that they've probably done some things behind closed doors. Now, Will Smith is not okay with his son being gay or openly wearing a skirt like that Negro did at the Academy Awards, as y'all recall, earlier this year. But because he fears the reprisals of what may happen if he goes against the grain, if he, goes too hard on his son, he's afraid of what might happen to his career, what might happen to his son's career. He's actually pretending like he's okay with this, even though it's obvious that he's not supportive of this. And, again, I have a video coming out explaining, why I personally don't want to have children in this fucked up world. And this is one of the many reasons why I don't. Because we live in a world now, I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with, what was his name? Tracy Morgan. You remember back in 2011, he got, dragged because he said that he made a joke, a stand-up comedy joke, that he would physically attack his son with a knife if his son came out as gay. Now, he's a comedian, okay? Comedians say offhand things. And had he said this 20, 30 years ago, it wouldn't have been a problem. But now we have men, comedians, actors, sports stars, okay, that are being forced at, they're being forced at media point, I guess you could say, to support something that many of them are obviously against, which is their sons turning gay, turning fruity. Okay? Now, their children, once they get grown, they're open to do whatever the hell they want to do. But I don't really think, and I don't think most heterosexual men, period, let alone most heterosexual black men, think that it is okay for society to tell us how to raise our children or the advice to give our children. I know a lot of black men don't like Steve Harvey after he came out with that so-called relationship advice book for black women many moons ago. But that's one thing that I do have to respect him for, when he was doing his comedy stand-up album, Still Trippin'. And he said, in so many words, he said, you make all your friends at school talking about his children. I'm your daddy. I pay the bills in the house. I pay the mortgage. If you don't like it, once you get out and on your own, you can do whatever the hell you want to do, when you get out from under my roof. But as long as you're under my roof, nobody in this motherfucker makes the rules except for me. And you will do what I say. He said that in so many words. And I had to respect him for that. Because I'm going to tell you now, nobody is going to tell me how to raise my son. Okay? If I'm a heterosexual male, Unless I turn gay, yes, I'm going to want my son to be a heterosexual male. And I'm going to be brave enough to come right out here and fucking say it. I'm brave enough to say everything else. Now, I said before, I don't have a problem with people that are gay. But if my child is underneath my roof, if I have a son, now he can do what he wants once he gets his own apartment. But under my roof, if he's gay under my roof, he better keep it under wraps. Okay? He's not going to be going outside in my house in a dress, in heels, okay, in a wig or a weave. That's not going to happen. And I don't have to explain shit to anybody as to why I'm not going to allow that. Because at the end of the day, not only is that my child, he's living under my fucking roof. See, we're living in very, very dangerous times. And I'm going to tell you, it's obviously the most dangerous for black men, okay? Because black masculinity, you notice, nobody's masculinity is being challenged the way black men's masculinity is being challenged, okay? The way true black masculinity is being challenged. If these white, rich and powerful motherfuckers like the NFL and the NBA, if they don't own it and they can't control black masculinity like professional black athletes, they don't want it nowhere around. They don't want to see it. They're definitely not going to promote it in Hollywood, okay? They'll throw a few black actors some bones, but for the most part, you either have to be a Nipsey Hussle, you have to be a skirt wearing dude at the red carpet, or you have to, be some freaking ass kissing, white liberal ass kissing apologist. You cannot be just a straightforward masculine black man. And the last black man that was allowed to portray what a real professional strong black man looks like is sitting in prison right now at 81 years old. And they got all the rest of these dudes in Hollywood. Everybody, it's obvious, Will Smith is a heterosexual male, okay? A lot of women would consider him a handsome guy even at 50-something years of age. He dresses well, he acts like a man, at least in the public eye. I don't know what goes on behind closed doors, but he's never exhibited any homosexual behavior. If he was gay, he would be gay, but he's not. So naturally, a heterosexual man doesn't want to see his son doing this type of stuff. And I told y'all, all this flamboyant homosexuality, man, look, certain things, just like certain things are better left unsaid, certain things need to be left behind closed doors, okay? Like I said in the video about that tranny, Marvin Gaye's father was a, behind the closet or in the closet homosexual later on in his life. He would dress in women's clothing, but he only did that around his own family members, behind closed doors, people who knew he was weird like that, okay? He didn't go outside, walking down the sidewalk, going to the grocery store, doing that shit, okay? J. Edgar Hoover was a flaming homosexual. But when he came to the headquarters of the FBI, as director of the FBI, he dressed like a man, he talked like a man, he acted like a man. What he did, his sexuality, his fantasies, what he did to get himself off, all that shit happened behind closed doors. Okay? And I say I'm not just targeting homosexuals. It's the same thing with these ratchet ass females, all this dumb shit and all this whoredom that we see on social media. It used to be, and this was the point of my promoting the image of black women then and now, where I made the comparisons between Cardi B and that girl, I forget her name, that was the first one to refuse to give up her seat on the bus back in the day. I talked about how there has been such a vast difference between the way black women were allowed themselves to be portrayed back then versus now. It's not that black women were any better or any less, scandalous than they are now. It's just that back then, people had a certain level of class that when you're out and about, when you're carrying yourself a certain way, you're supposed to carry yourself a certain way when you're out and about in the public, okay? John F. Kennedy, that don't make what you do right. But, John F. Kennedy was cheating on his wife, but people didn't know about that until he was long dead and in the ground many moons later, okay? Certain things are better left unsaid, and certain things are better left behind closed doors, okay? If anything, especially if you are a family member of a well-known figure, but even not, okay? You should understand and see, again, because we're living in a time period where pretty much anything and everything goes, this type of shit is being allowed. Not only is it being allowed, we remember, what was his name? Kevin Hart. Black men are being made to apologize for having an anti-gay opinion. Like, they don't even want us thinking about going against the grain of all this dysfunctional shit that we seeing going on. Okay? It's just ridiculous. And you notice the only ones that are pushing hard pushing hard against that, are those who are pushing hard against black men displaying normal black masculinity. I guarantee you, if Gerard Butler had a son, ain't nobody gonna have a problem with him sitting his son down and saying, look, you ain't going out my house looking like no girl. I'm sorry. You not doing that in my house. I mean, when he gets another house from the one that burnt down in in wherever that was in California when they had them wildfires out there. But you see what I'm saying? And another thing, why is it that we don't see this trend with these white leading actors and white entertainers like Liam Neeson and Gerard Butler? Yeah, they have a lot of dysfunction in their family that comes out, but you don't see all this flamboyant homosexuality of, especially their sons. You don't see John Voight's son or grandson coming out the house in no dress, walking down the red carpet in a fucking dress. You don't see that with these white men. Of course, there's plenty of white homosexuals and transsexuals, but you're not seeing an overriding majority of this shit. Y'all remember before he died, what was his name? They nominated him for Best Actor, Heath Ledger, for playing a gay cowboy beside Jake Gyllenhaal in what was that? It was a classic homo movie, Brokeback Mountain. I never saw it, but it was getting a lot of praise. And even though they nominated that shit, as weird as Hollywood is, they didn't give him the award. But when they didn't give him the award, when they switched the camera to his face, it was almost like a sigh of relief came over Heath Ledger's face, like, whew, I'm so glad I'm not going to be remembered for this shit. You know what I'm saying? But with black men, it's like they're pushing this shit. And see, I know exactly what's behind this, which is why I'm telling all black men, the ones that need to be divesting are us. We are the ones who need to divest from Horistan. Because they want to see you, unless they're controlling your masculinity, like in a boxing federation or an MMA cage owned by Dana White in the UFC or the NFL or the NBA or some college sports team that you're not getting paid for, but you're making the university millions of dollars a year every football or basketball fucking season. Unless they're controlling our masculinity, they want to see you as either some low-down thug that's worshipped by the female sows that you impregnate, like Nipsey Hussle or Tupac Shakur. Or they want to see you as some low-down homosexual. Like, what was his name? Muhlaysia Booker. Or Kenyatta, whatever the fuck. Talk to you later, guys.